Hi, and welcome to yet another episode of Get Set Go Beyond Sports, People in Sports with me, Sonali Gupta. It is always an honor, a pleasure, and so much to learn from all the people that we speak to about their passions and about their sports. We have with us today Aisha Lobo, Aka, the Mistress of the Sea. Aisha Lobo is a well known name in the international and national sailing circuit. She began sailing at the age of 10, and at the age of 13, she went for her first international event in sailing. She has made history as the only Indian and an all women crew that sailed from India to Australia on board the iconic Maiden, a 58 feet yacht that sailed with the first ever women's team 30 years ago and is now sailing around the world to raise awareness for women and girl child issues. She has sailed in over 30 international events, numerous national events, and is out on the water racing local events every weekend during sailing season. Aisha Lobo started sailing in early 2000s as a fun hobby. Presently, she teaches sailing and runs a sailing school named Discover Sailing India. She is also a scuba diver, certified for search and recovery, underwater navigator, deep diving, diving for shipwrecks, and an emergency first responder. She has won National Award for Female Sailor, one of the first Indian women to sail the southern Indian peninsula on a tall ship as well as sailing yacht. We are absolutely overjoyed to have with us Aisha Lobo. Welcome, Aisha, and thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
I hope I have not missed out anything which would be of more interest, and I would hope that you can tell me something more interesting about one of these sailing incidents or sailing episodes that I have missed speaking about.
Yeah, definitely. So, like we recently were sailing in Bahrain as well in the Super League, and that is a form of match racing, which is different from a long distance sail or a fleet race where there's multiple boats racing together. And this is just like a football match, one on one. The
Wow.
two boats race against each other, and it's either you win or you lose. And every time you beat a country, you advance to beat like you have to beat five countries to get into a semi-finals, and exactly how team sport work. And we did quite well, and we went back into the whole match racing after 10 years. So it was nice to be back on the water. And this was just pre-pandemic,
Wow.
still fresh. We still feel the adrenaline, even though it's a year later.
So it's in fact most people, when they think of sailing or when they hear of sailing, the image that comes to mind is probably the French Riviera and the yachts or just those sails which are long, leisurely, or the big yachts. Most people, I think, what you've sort of watched in our films is what really comes to mind. So then, how really is sailing as a sport?
So, besides the luxury version which you described of sailing, the sailing as a sport is intense, and it's full of adrenaline, and you have to like it's not too demanding, but you have to have a level of fitness. And like for me, I just enjoy the rush that you get from, it's like you're using nature, elements of nature versus your own understanding of how the wind works, like physics involved in it.
Right.
And yeah, it's
So
just
then tell
one of
me
those things
something.
where,
When you talk so
yeah.
much about nature and about the technicals that's involved and the physics that involved, and of course, yes, you got to learn a lot. Um, you know, does sailing require you to have some kind of a educational qualification, or does it require you to have studied something in particular to actually start sailing, or also to take up sailing as a sport? Does it require any specific training then?
So, like any sport or even like working out, you'd have to do your basic research and understand what you're doing to be able to do anything. So, sailing to start, you'll already, when you start a course, like when we run our sailing courses, you don't need to know any sailing. You don't need to have any understanding. Like, you might not even need to know swimming for the big boats. But what you need to know is during your course, you learn, where's the wind coming from, how the tide, and you learn that in your first course and then in your second course, and every time you learn a little bit more. And as a good practice, I think that I have learned this myself, and it's a little research on your own. Like, if you look up videos and try and understand. So definitely, once you start getting to a competitive level or a professional level, you need to do a little more work on yourself. So it's not only reading and studying, you're also watching yourself perform and seeing where you made your mistakes. It's a lot of self-discovery in the process.
Right. But then tell me something, as a young girl who started sailing and who also fell in love with this sport, probably as early as a 10, 12-year-old, is it daunting to learn so much and to sort of, or is there some kind of fear of the sea, of the waters? Like, how did you do it?
So for me, when I was 10 years old and a family friend took us out sailing, at the age of 10, to be out in the open water with wind in my hair, water at my feet, and just that freedom that you get out there, it's exhilarating. And when I started learning as well, it wasn't like daunting per se, because when you're like, as a kid, your actions and things you do and the memory for that is much higher than the actual theory towards it. Right. And then only when I started getting older, then the theory started like, oh, okay, I've been using physics and I didn't even know it. Right. And I was like, I've been doing so many things, but when you're young, you don't. Once you start getting older and you start understanding concepts, then it makes sense. But it's not daunting per se.
And as a 10-year-old, was one of the questions that popped your mind was whether I will see a shark or I will get to see a whale or can I see dolphins? Does that really happen?
I mean, I was more excited to see them because I was also like, I had learned diving by then, and I was just like a new diver, like, little baby, like what is like so excited to see any kind of fish. But yeah, like if we saw a dolphin or a whale, like sharks we knew didn't exist because our coaches were like, they don't exist in Bombay, and they get a catfish, but that's about it. Right. And we did have once really long ago a whale that washed up, but it died. So it was just sad. Right. And other than that, we've had dolphins in the harbor, which were always beautiful to see because we get so excited when they come alongside you. Right. And over the years also, like a 10-year-old, it was great. And then as you get older and you have that memory, every time you see a dolphin, it takes you back like a time machine. Like, oh, I saw this when I was a kid and I'm seeing it now, except I'm on the boat like 10 times bigger.
Right.
So, yeah.
But then tell me something, are there then risks associated with sailing, whether it is, and when you say that there's so much of nature that's evolved in sailing, so especially when, do parents have concerns like, about the open waters, about the animals, or of course, the fish in the sea, any kind of mishaps? I mean, there are just so many questions that a parent would have for somebody whose child is excited about sailing, but then we kind of don't know.
Yeah, so there, like India being a country, and including my mom was initially, she's still scared of the water. And it took a lot for her to come out sailing with us. It took many years to convince her. But yeah, parents are generally scared because as a country, we are like the people in it, we've been growing up like supposed to be scared of the sea. And no one like that fear, we're surrounded by water. So we should be actually playing on the beach, and it should be a thing to go to the beach every day, go swimming in the water, go sailing. But because people are too scared, which we're trying to also break that now by like when we sail on these bigger boats, showing them that, if you respect nature and you respect the elements, it will respect you back. If you decide to, go sailing and then you just throw trash in the water, one day it's going to come back like in some form or the other.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. So then tell me, what are some of the challenges that you actually faced while sailing, or, something that's kind of, it's sort of always bound to be there as a challenge, which you sort of have to be prepared for?
So like one of the main challenges you'll always have with sailing is you lose a lot of skin on your hands because you're using ropes. Like that's what everyone who's doing their courses have learned now. Like I need to go shopping for some gloves.
Right.
And that's one of the main things. The other things that like sailing, just as even like a hobby you would have, is getting sunburned because you're in the
Right.
sun.
Right.
But again, like we try and not like focus too hard on the physical aspect. Like you need to be strong for this. Like
Right.
we've created it so you use like technique over your physical aspect, because you have kids sailing the same boat as an adult, and of course an
Right.
adult would be able to pull up a sail 10 times faster than a kid.
Right.
But then the kid is also working with his technique, which helps him get it up fast as well.
Right.
So also you have women who are already petite versus
Yeah.
some of the other women who have been working out and are much stronger. So but yeah, I mean, stamina is good in racing, and you're in the professional line, then you need to have some good stamina, need to work out a bit, have a decent regime on your mental health to make
Right.
sure that you're able to take on, because when you go out there into the water, it's not like land that you're walking out onto a road that's even. Everything
Right.
moves. It's a
Right.
completely different arena. And you have to understand that this is not your normal space unless it is your normal space. And
Right.
then once you understand that and you get that, everything is quite easy.
Right. So, you kind
I
of
mean,
touched upon this aspect of mental health, and this is something I really wanted to ask you. So, how do you mentally prepare to be out there? Or, like you went on to an international competition and you went on an international sail for quite a long time. So, how do you mentally prepare for all of it? Like to sort of, because like you just mentioned also that conditions on water are not the same as land. So what is the preparation that's required?
So one is I'll start off with just sailing and like small championships and stuff. And for those kind of things, like mentally, you prepare yourself. Is you speak to yourself, understand, do I want to win this championship? Am I mentally ready? Like, am I physically ready to win this championship? Have I practiced enough? Have I got the right foods? Am I working on my diet? Because, say I need to be 65 kgs for this championship. If I'm less weight, what can I do? And I think everything is in your head. So if you're mentally saying, even if I'm less than 65, but I'm going to win, you automatically, your body will start reacting and working to, I'm going to win. And then once you use that same thinking and you go on a longer sail, like cross oceans, and initially it's always going to be a nerve, like, oh my God, it's a big ocean out there. It's only these many, what is going to happen? But once you think of like, it's just like a small distance from A to B. What do I need? Am I prepared for it? Do I have my food? Do I have my, electronics? I think preparation is just it. So you can prepare mentally by, making sure you've eaten, done your revisions, like exams, like how you study for an exam, preparing for, you just go over and over what you already know.
Right.
Maybe like, the wind is coming from here, currents, these are external factors. These are people I need to watch out for on the water when I'm racing. But the end goal is I just need to get to my goal. So once you've got that set in your head, everything falls into place.
Right.
And I don't need much mental preparation to get on the water. I'm always good to go.
So tell me something, as a lay person, now that we have, say, Netra, whose name is, all over, and we all know that, she's qualified as the first Indian sailor. If somebody wants to take up sailing and they want to know the various sort of categories, if that's what it is called in sailing as well, how does one begin? How do you begin learning, and where do you begin learning? How do you begin competing? Are there different styles of sailing? Like we know that she does this, what's the, the short distance in a fastest possible way. It's called a single-handed handling the boat. So all of these are technical terms for a whole lot of us. So what are the kinds of competitions that one has with the various aspects of the sport?
So sailing is a very big sport. It has everything from the ground level, which is club sailing, to international sailing, world championship, and Olympic sailing. And in India, we start off with kids in the Optimist class. Then we go on to double handers and single hander both. So single hander means one person, double hander is 2-person, and then you have team sport, which is between 5 to 10 people on big boats, on keel boats.
Right.
And usually the progression starts in India from an optimist, and then you move into a single hander or a double hander.
Right.
And those are all age limited. So like a 420 and a 29ers under 18, under 21. Then you go into bigger classes, which is above. And but there is no rule that says if you are 16 years old, you can't compete in a boat like a hobby cat or a keel boat.
Right.
So because the sport lets you, you know, choose where you want to be. Like I chose the keel boat racing because it was something I was good at, and I
Right.
found my comfort zone in it. Like I
Right.
did sail lasers, the same boats as Netra, and I
Right.
sailed a lot of categories over the years and did well in those. But where I was excelling most was in the keel boat category, and I liked the keel boat.
Right.
It was also a little less strain on my body because it wasn't single-handed. It was a team sport, and I liked it a little
Right.
bit more.
Right.
And then you have, that is just fleet racing. Then you have match racing and team racing as well. So team racing is where you have four boats racing in one team, and another team has four boats, and all four boats race against each other.
Right.
And then it's point system. So if you get a 1, 3, 5, like the aggregate points has to be less than the opponent team.
Okay.
And then you have match racing, which is what I was talking about, where it's
Right.
one-on-one, like a football match, and one is eliminated and one goes on to the next round.
Right.
So yeah.
So Aisha, I want to ask you this, that you know, while it's very exciting to know about different sports that involve in sailing, and you know, to hear it from you where it's so exciting, but isn't sailing something which is definitely more expensive, and sort of as a sport, then how do you pursue it? And like, you know, where do you go? Obviously, you know, with other sports, you sort of own your kit bag and you own your equipment, kind of a thing. How does it go in sailing then in that case?
So initially, when you start and you're just competing, you can have charter boats from either a sailing school, or if you're sailing internationally as well, charter a boat there. You do have a few of your own equipment like sails and stuff like that. But if you're just new to sailing and you just want to enjoy sailing, you can definitely get a boat from anywhere, charter it out at a cost, and sailboats, because a lot of sailing schools in the country and around, even abroad, they let you come and just take a boat and go sailing once you're certified.
Right.
So it's not too expensive per se. But if say you want to like take it on professionally, then the easiest way to do that is like a diving course. You work with a company, so you can pay for like in reciprocals, and can pay for your courses and training and everything. And in return, you get trained and you can perform and race and do that. Or you can find a sponsor, which
Right.
is something that we're doing as well, and
Right.
start working at going more events, international events. Like a sponsor comes in when you're doing international events because it's quite expensive then.
Right.
But for just leisure sailing, it's quite easy. Yeah.
Right. And so does sailing also require a certain set of clothing? Like, you know, is there any kind of aerodynamics that is involved even in sailing in what you wear? Sort of, does it come into play?
So not too much of aerodynamics, like that does play a very small part of it. But in sailing, because you have water, you want to be warm. So most of your layering and kits that you wear is to keep your body warm, help you have maneuverability. And it also depends what boat you're sailing. So the bigger boats you see, they all have like, you know, jackets and overalls, versus skiffs, you'll have like tight fitting clothes so it doesn't get caught anywhere.
Right.
And if it's just like dinghy sailing, then you'd have just a simple rash guard, the same things that surfers wear, and football is also wear the skins.
Right.
That's all you need with shorts, because you don't need too much to sail. Gloves
Right.
are definitely a thing. You have shoes that protect your toes, so in case you stub it around the place,
Right.
and with grip as well, because you need to grip onto the boat when you're running around.
Right.
Movement, because it's again, you're not on land where you're running, or
Right.
you're
Right.
on water, so your movement is also different on a boat. And other things that sailors do have are harnesses. So you have your own harness depending again on which boat you sail. So you have a harness to clip on and trapeze,
Right.
or you have harnesses to even like run the front of the boat on big boats where you need
Right.
to climb or do something with it.
Right. So
So
then,
there is a lot of different equipment, but different boats.
Right. So then all of these equipments that you do talk about, are they easily available for, say, a whole lot of people who are looking at wanting to take it up, whether it is as a hobby to start with and then take it up higher as a profession or as a competitive sport?
In India, it is now a little bit accessible. Like you can get gloves and caps and life jackets and stuff, but a lot of the racing stuff you can't get. That you still have to buy internationally. But internationally, it's available. Like say you're on holiday and our friends are on holiday, which is what we used to do. Is
Right.
anyone on holiday? It'd be like, okay, there's this store. Can you just step in and pick up all this equipment for me? And I'll pay you when you come back into the country. Like,
Right.
can you please buy it? Otherwise, you have to order it, and by the time it comes, it's
Right.
been like 3 months after shipping has happened and everything. So, yeah, that's one of the a lot of the like racing equipment isn't available, but
Right.
it's slowly coming in. I think in a few more years, once we're able to establish that everyone can sail
Right.
and bring it out to the world and the whole of India, then
Right.
I think there'll be more stuff coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
So one last really, a question to delve into before we have a fun section is sailing as a sport. How do you how do you assess India's standing and the future of where we are to where we can go with it?
So I think currently our future is already so bright with having three now Olympians who will be competing. And it's already got to such a great level over the last 10 years from when we were starting our sailing and, coming into the sport, and how it's developed in the last 10 years has been amazing because everyone, like all our current, like Varun and Ganapati, Netra, Vishnu, all of them have been training so hard over the last 10 years just to get to this point.
Right.
And I think now with having them as role models, and kids can see that it is possible, and they are definitely going to bring in more awareness about the sport. So with them bringing in more awareness and us pushing the teaching and getting kids on the water and adults on the water, I think there's a lot of good scope. So hopefully we'll be one of those countries like Greece with marinas and boats and, a very, water friendly ambience.
Right.
I see India coming up that way because there are a lot of foreigners who come to India living here and are very excited with the fact that they didn't know sailing existed, but just having that, now that, it is coming up, I can go sailing and should be able to sail along the coast. It's something that's going to be coming up quite fast, I think.
Right. Okay. So just a quick pick. What's your best answer? Life on water or life on land?
Water.
What's more rewarding?
I mean, if life on land lets me sit near the beach with water, then okay.
Okay, what's more rewarding? You as the whole scuba diver, rescue, all of that, or you as a sailor?
Oh, that's a tough one. I can't really choose because one is my profession now and one is my hobby, and I do both of them quite equally. So more rewarding. I can't choose. This one's too hard.
Okay, so tell us. Tell me one thing that we don't know about sailing as a sport that you can tell us.
It all depends on how much you already know and how much you picked up from what I said already.
Something that's kind of an inside info that we don't know.
It's really, really easy, and it might look tough and you might think it's tough, but it's actually too easy, and most people, once they started, it's addictive.
Okay.
Yeah, that I can tell you. It's something that not everyone knows. They are scared, but it's not scary either.
Yes. What's the one thing that you think should always be in a kit bag when you go out sailing?
Just one thing, or can I say two?
As many as you want. But
okay. I mean, I think the two. I mean, one thing would be a knife.
Okay.
Definitely like a Leatherman knife or a Swiss Army knife, something a multi-tool would be, or a sharp knife.
Right.
And some electrical tape. or duct tape.
Okay. I
Those
thought
two things can go a long way.
I was hoping somebody would have said sunscreen. So then here, sunscreen is really
that is like
important.
putting on your like sunscreen is without saying. You need to wash, and it's like putting on clothes and getting out of the house. You have to put that on. It's not a question.
Right.
And you'll always see like sailors and pictures of all sailors, and they look like cricketers. We all have white on our face or colors, so it's always there.
Right. So at the end, just before we end, is there something that you can tell us more about your diving school, and what are your upcoming projects?
So the sailing
school.
school in Bombay is the sailing school in Bombay is like so far I think we're doing a lot of good work. The kids who have learned sailing and from school have actually started the cleanup projects with us.
Right.
So we go out sailing and clean up our harbor as part of a school project. So we get their classmates. So the students sail the boat and their classmates come out with them. Wow. And everyone understands the sea, learns what the sea is about, learn a little bit of sailing and clean up. Wow. And we have adults who are also coming in with corporates and trying to, because we have a project to clean up our Mumbai harbor at least, and start with a small thing and hopefully get bigger and bigger. Wow. We also have the World Championships coming up. So our team is currently training for that, as well as looking for sponsors for them. So if there are any sponsors out there, do come and see us sail, and then happily, like, we will tell you how to sponsor us.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got so many, like the monsoons are coming up. So hopefully in the next month, we also have a few really big corporates coming out, and we're really happy that, people are coming out of their house, and because it's a sport that you don't need to be in a group or with other people.
Right.
Other people are learning. So for the sailing school, that's been a great thing to, when you have like 30 people sign up to learn sailing versus just come out and have a fun.
Wow.
And they become the lifestyle to them, and you've suddenly inspired like 30 people to take on a passion that you've been doing your entire life.
Right.
Almost my entire life, but
fantastic. Thank you so much, Aisha.
I'm sure we've got way more coming.
I'm sure. I think with this conversation and with you actually, making it sound so easy, I'm sure that's going to be a whole lot of them who are going to be interested in sort of at least giving it a try. Because I think most of us have grown up drawing boats and sails and those little yachts in our drawings as we've grown up as little kids. The little flags up there and the sails, and I think it's very, very interesting as a child also, because you're so fascinated. So I really do hope that a whole lot of parents can sort of now look into this as a sport, and thanks to people like you who sort of made it so easy for the rest of them to follow. So thank you so much, Aisha, once again for being on the show with me.
Thank you for having me and like getting me to like get more people out there. I'm hoping to see you soon.
Thank you. As well. Yes, I am definitely going to be one of them who's going to come and try this and get over my own fear of everything that involves the water and the sailing and the seas. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and thank you for supporting, liking. Please do continue to subscribe, to share, to comment. It just helps us reach larger audiences, and yes, do support in whatever way that you can, whether it is us or the sports people that we bring here, because everyone out there is looking for something in a way that everyone can get together and help with. So thank you once again, and see you soon.